Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Yasmin.
I'm Latara, and this is Pieces
Pieces
of
of
Our
our
Thoughts.
thoughts. Today we're going to be talking about self-care, and I just want to get the definition of what care is. And it's the provision of what is necessary for the health, welfare, and maintenance and protection of someone or something. And when we talk about self-care, I think that it starts with a safe place and a positive mind. So for me, self care is having this self respect and just paying attention, being attentive to what my body needs at that time, and just trusting myself and what my intuition is telling me. And recently, I've been on my administration, so um, I've been really, listening and really being very intuitive to like what my body needs at that time. If my body wants like a certain food, like this dieting, I don't diet when I'm on my cycle because what my body needs, my body gets.
I feel you on that.
And just like working out, I'm not pushing myself as hard as I normally would. um and then also just like whatever my body wants, I just really just listen to it. If my body
hmm
needs to cry, I'm crying. I'm just really there in my mental, my physical, and like my spiritual, when it comes down to caring for myself, especially during this time.
Yeah.
And what do you think about self-care?
Oh yeah, I think that's real good. Like I say, I always say outside of this, when you're shedding the uterine lining and you are not just also shedding that physically, you're also shedding stuff that you've been dealing with mentally that whole month.
Mhm.
And I feel like we need to take more practice in for us as being women of actually taking that time for self-care when you are menstruating, when you are on your period, because there is a time, and I remember those times was more sacred. Back in ancient times they were so much more sacred, because now we kind of look at our periods as it's like, oh man, when it comes, like, here it goes. But
Yeah.
we need to have and give ourselves more grace, ladies, when we are having our period. And I know sometimes it's hard to get that self-care in because you still have all different duties and functions, different things that you have to do with your family and stuff. But I feel like you should take a break on it. I really do. I feel like we should be more of hearing what our body needs and wants when we are on having our periods, guys, because it's something spiritual about that. Because if you notice, it connects with the moon cycle and all of that. It
Mhm.
connects with, what I'm saying, the emotions of how you're triggered and how you feel. Because I know right now I'm actually going through that myself too. Right now in this moment, and I have listened to my body this week also.
Mhm.
Um, I usually do 10 miles, and I stop doing 10 miles and I bring it down to 5, because my body is it's so tired. So it's like
Mhm.
I know that usually I'll push it, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna give myself some grace. And yesterday I wanted to go on my walk, but I felt so, bad, and I'm really glad I didn't, because it was something spiritual. There was, that spiritual connection. When I connected, it was waiting for me, and it was another moment of healing that I seen yesterday. And I'm glad for that. So you guys pay attention to that. Self-care is not just about getting your nails done, your hair done, your feet done, or keeping up your outer appearance. It's also what's on the inside. And those are the moments, that's when you're supposed to go in deep and dig in. And you know what I'm saying, kind of trust the process, and whatever triggers that's triggering you around that time, deal with those triggers and really realize, why am I triggered by that? What I need to do differently, and how do I need to look at that differently.
Mhm. And I think a lot of people, what we need to start focusing on when it comes down to self-care is ridding of things that causes us stress. So like if you're around like toxic people, or you doing stuff that you really don't want to do, then just
hmm
simply don't do it, and just like respect yourself enough to say, no, I don't want to do that. and just more so, or I don't want to eat that. So, and then I think, or just saying, I love myself enough to, you know, I love myself enough to cut this relationship off because it's toxic, or I love myself enough to, to leave this place, or I love myself enough to quit this job, whatever it may be. It's just don't let people or things come in between you and your peace. Because I think self care is mainly about what you can do for yourself. And I simply like to think of self care, or just like myself in general, as another person, because it's easier to do something for somebody else rather than doing it for yourself. So you will care about another person more than you will care about yourself. And we got to get out of the habit of doing that and putting yourself first. So I like to think of myself, especially as like a recovered people pleaser. I like to think of myself as a whole nother person. I'm myself. So myself, simply.
And
Two separate people.
you said you were recovered people pleaser. Girl, that was good, good. I just had to really I'm sorry, y'all. I just had to really just let her repeat that. Recovered people pleaser. I got you. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, because that is an addiction. All jokes
Yeah.
aside, that is an addiction. But I like how you put that.
Yeah.
That's real,
People really
guys.
truly suffer from that.
Yeah, people do. People really truly do suffer from that. Everybody. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people, even when they say they not, they don't, they do. Until you realize and you know what I'm saying, you kind of level up from that. But yeah, piggybacking off of what she's saying about, you know, with the self-care and taking that time for you. And like she's saying, to even get to that place, sometimes you got to visualize yourself as a different person. And I get what you're saying. That's actually, you know what I'm saying, a good idea, a good step to start. But for us that, you know what I'm saying, even if you already beyond that or past that, guys, we just really, you know what I'm saying, this episode is really heavy. And I feel like it's heavy and so emotional right now for me, because this is hitting home on really for real protecting yourself, protecting your peace,
Yeah.
and having that moment of sitting down with you and talking to yourself, and you know what I'm saying, getting that inside of you fixed, and you know what I'm saying, well and well rested. Because let me tell you, rest is needed.
Yes, it
Sleep
is.
is needed. You know, sleep regenerates, you know, I feel like not just the body, but also, you know what I'm saying, the soul, because you make that connection with your subconscious, and your subconscious shows you things. I feel like your subconscious shows you the things that you keep repeating and what actually needs to change, right? So when we
Hmm.
wake up in our conscious you know, cells, when we get up in the morning, we should be working on that. You know, we definitely should.
Hmm.
Write your dreams down, guys, because I'm telling you right now, them be very, very strong dreams when you
Yeah.
are administrating. It's very strong energy of, I feel like, ancestors, and I feel like God. It's very strong. So
Yeah.
connect to that, because it may be something that you're searching for. It may
Hmm.
be some answers that you're looking for. Guys, you get it on your period. I'm telling you, you get the clarity. Because you know, the first couple of days, you know, they're the rocky days. You know, that's when you're shedding. That's when, you know what I'm saying, you're trying to, like, you're so emotional because all the things you're thinking about. And I would say, you know, after it gets into it, you kind of feel better. Each day you feel better. And then the clarity comes. So guys, take the time out for that.
Yeah. And really, for me, I like a few examples of good and like healthy self care regimens would be like talking to yourself in a mirror, or just like, I don't know. Sometimes I like to sing to myself in the mirror, like really stare myself down in
Mm-hmm.
the mirror, and really connect with my inner child. Because like growing up, I would always like talk to myself as if I had like a YouTube channel, but like, look at me.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Like I had like a whole YouTube channel, but I would really be like talking to myself in the mirror and really like connecting with myself. And I don't know, I just recently started doing that recently, and it feels so good to, connect with my inner child and then like also like wanting to watch childhood movies or having this like nostalgia is it's just good to connect with your inner child, and I know that has a lot to do with the mental side of self-care.
Yeah, I agree on that. My self care looks like a bunch of rest. I like to lay
Oh
around
yeah.
and I like to be in my own thoughts. And half of the time, guys, I don't even have the TV on. I don't have my phone in my hand. It's just laying there and just zoning out,
Mhm.
and just letting my thoughts not I'm not letting my thoughts captivate me or take it over, but I'm just letting each thought, and as I think each thought, I take care of each thought, I answer each thought, or
Yeah.
I have a, sometimes I have a question for each thought, just, and I
Mm.
take the time to, level all those things out, you know what I'm saying, of what I'm thinking about and what, what I'm saying, where I'm trying to go. But I don't pressure myself to go too far. But I rest.
Mhm.
I like to rest when I'm doing my self care. For me, like I say, with nothing on. Most of the time, I'm playing jazz. I love that. You know what I'm saying? Turn you on some jazz, guys, sometimes, and light you a candle, and just sit
Mhm.
there and just relax. Close your mind down, just relax, lay down, or whatever you want to do. Put your feet up. That's mostly of myself. When I'm doing I feel like my real work of self care. I'm
Mhm.
mostly just, I like to relax, and I like to feed my body what it wants to be fed also. And like how, and you change that changes too. I'm gonna tell you what changes,
Right.
because I know a lot of people is saying, well, I be want to eat bad stuff when I'm on my period. Well, since I've been in the healing process, and I never been a type of sugar person anyway, to like really sugary things like that. But I've noticed now, because back in the years, that was the only time I would actually eat chocolate and candy, is when my period comes. But something has healed, so now I don't even have the taste buds for it,
Yeah.
for like candy or chocolate. More so now I got a taste buds for like, oh, let me get some fruit, some vegetables. And
Mhm.
this is, and that's where I'm at now. So I feel like I done leveled up on that. I done done something, thank you, body. But it's something that has changed with it. So yeah, guys, self-care can look many different ways. But just really just take care of yourself mentally, because you take care of yourself. If your mental taken care of, then you definitely gonna take care of your physical. You know,
Exactly.
because just going in and just taking care of your physical, that's not, what I'm saying, preparing nothing for your mental. So I feel like when you take care of that mental self care, that physical self care is gonna follow right along.
Yeah. And when you aren't taking care of those things can lead to burnout. So if you're in like a toxic or like negative situation, you're not really taking care of yourself. How can you take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself? That's why it's so important to put yourself first before dealing with another person. And I just I really like to like water my own garden, like I like to see myself as like a growing tree or like plant or something. If I plant those seeds of care, then I can start growing myself. So like if I do like those if I'm resting or if I'm, it could be simply you getting up to just take a shower. That is self-care within itself. It could be like
Hmm.
simple things like that. And then it could also be you taking the time to indulge in your hobbies, or it can be you feeding yourself certain things, or it can be you, just communicating and talking with other people, you going somewhere, doing something that you've been wanting to do. Just really taking care of yourself in ways that's good for your mental, your body, and your spirit.
I agree on that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Doing that, you're at peace.
Yeah.
You, and when look, people don't understand is self care doesn't have to do necessarily do with anything outside of your body. You know what I'm saying? Like she's saying, like she likes to water her garden and plants and stuff. So when you go back there and you do that, now you have tapped in to your feminine energy, which is nature. See, and that taps into something. As you out there watering, I guarantee you, some clarity comes in your mind, or you sitting there, you watching it
Mhm.
grow, and some comes in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Your mind's eye. So yeah, I feel like that's actually something great to do. Actually, being out in nature, we know that though. We know that everybody talks about that, right?
Yeah.
Being out in nature is good for self care also. But yeah, and I, you know what, too, guys, I want to talk about this because sometimes it's hard to even do self care. You don't feel like doing it all the time, and
Mhm.
I want to understand that too. But at some point in time, ladies, we gonna have to do it. And I'm not just talking to ladies. I'm preferring the ladies as right now as when we're on our periods. But even for men, you guys should take out the time too for some self care, not just, you know what I'm saying, with your haircuts and your maintenance on your body, guys, going to the gym, but actually sit with yourselves and really have your logic thinking. You know what I'm saying? Sit there and really think about different things. Think about that month, what all the things that you went through, and what, you know what I'm saying, what do you want to see different, and what changes do you want to make? What change do you want to see this month that you did that you won't do next month, you know?
Mhm.
So hey, this is for everybody. It don't matter. This is for everybody. Men or women, like y'all, we all need this self care. It's good.
Yeah. I think it's good for everybody to, tap into that self care. I just feel like just paying attention to yourself. Give yourself that attention.
What you
Give
saying?
yourself that attention.
Because some people want attention from people, right? Some people like, well,
Yeah.
I want your attention. I want to be affectionate. I want to do this and that. But I get what you're saying. Just be attentive to the needs for yourself.
Yeah.
Be attentive for the needs for self. And once you pay attention to that, I promise y'all, it gets better and better each time that you go through it. For real, for real. Because like I say, right now, to be honest, today is a hard day for me. You know what I'm saying? I know we're talking about self care, but this is pieces of our thoughts.
Yeah.
Today is a hard day for me because I am, you know what I'm saying, I everything is kind of everywhere, because like I say, when we're having our periods, it's a lot of shedding of things, and it's like I'm not emotional, I'm just kind of overwhelmed. But guess what, I still push through to come and give you guys, you know what I'm saying, a word of advice, even though, you know what I'm saying, I'm not in my tip top shape of my mind and my mental. But I just wanted to come on here and like tell y'all, like, you're not by yourself, man. You're not by
Mhm.
yourself, but we pushing through, and we're striving for better self care, a healthy version of self care, to go inside. Go within, guys. Go within, and you will find everything that you need.
Mhm. I agree. Okay, and I just wanted to add on to what she was saying about like men taking care of their self too, because a lot of people they don't look at it as I don't know, a lot of people see it as like toxic masculinity to even take care of themselves and even cry or like have these types of
Yeah.
emotions.
And that's so
So
wrong, y'all. Why, I don't know why y'all be saying that. That irritates me.
yeah, so I think it's important for even for guys to even take care of themselves, to take the time to give yourself a break and don't think of like your life as like a burden to take on like all these stress.
Everything. And they do though.
Yeah,
They do though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a lot
shouts
of
out to
stress.
the for real. Because I always say shout out to the women too. But shout out to the men that's out there, you know what I'm saying, really taking on, you know what I'm saying, not just providing for their family, but also taking on that emotional turmoil that they family bring to them, and then they hold it all in and don't really have a space for them to vent and to release. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
everybody needs a space to
that's real.
even have that sense to come out and have those emotions with each other. And I think that's some of what the problem is. And I just feel like men should also be taking care of
Yeah, man.
themselves.
Yeah, they should have that self care. And then
Mhm.
we talking about men self care inside, not your
Yeah.
outside looking fly, looking good. We ain't talking about that. We talking about going on the inside. And even though, you know what I'm saying, I feel like that even though I know women actually have periods, I feel like that men have that cycle of, it's a different cycle. It's not actually a physical cycle. I feel like theirs are really is mental.
Mhm.
because that once a month, every man has that, where they have that breakdown of where they're by themselves and they're thinking by themselves, and all the things that month just comes back and rush into their head like, dang, I had to deal with this, I had to deal with that, and this and that. Man, that's your time. That's when you're shedding your snake skin. You get what I'm saying? And you getting that new skin for the next month, you know? Think what you think. You know what I'm saying? It should be that, yeah, it should be.
Yeah, they definitely need the time to um have that time alone, or have that time, or have a space, a peaceful space to where they can go and share those emotions like mentally, because I feel like it's really like a mental thing, self-care. Like it's at least for me,
Yeah.
taking a rest when you need it, not burning yourself out, because like I don't know, I just feel
And
like there's
men,
so much pain.
it is so much pain. And men too. I know a lot of y'all self care is going out there and doing the yard and being out in nature, and that's fine. But sometimes y'all need to sit your ass down and take a break and make your self care be where you're not doing nothing. Where you're not doing nothing but being in a deep, quiet space and
Hmm.
place and actually just releasing and thinking. That's it. Releasing and thinking and just taking that time to, get yourself together. Because I really think that's really a big thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Right now, I think period point blank. I think
Hmm.
period point blank. I think people leave men out of self care because they think that self care is, oh, we're gonna get our hair and nails done. It's a woman thing. No, it's
It's
also a
it's
male
a
thing
it's a
too.
everybody thing.
Right, it is.
Everybody should be taking care
Yeah, let's
of
make,
of
yeah,
ourselves, and then we can take care of each other. You
right,
know?
right. Let's normalize basically men doing self care and women doing self care. And you guys should have that time alone to be able to do that. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in a relationship, got a boyfriend. I don't care even if, you know what I'm saying, even if you got roommates or however your life set up right now, man, you should be able to have time where you can just sit in your own peace and your own things and in your own emotions and your own thoughts in quiet and relax, rest. Take one time to rest, man, because I see y'all out
Yeah.
here working. Shouts out to everybody who out here working like it's no tomorrow. But you have to understand, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you can work to no tomorrow, and I understand that you the provider, but no, if anything happened to you, you know what I'm saying, with your family, be able to withstand that. So you guys got to start taking care of yourselves even better also too,
Yeah.
definitely.
Hmm. And then that's something that you can, start teaching to your kids too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Your sons and your daughters, actually. All right,
Yeah.
y'all. It's time for self-care time. And everybody know self-care time is taking away electronics, taking away all of that. Let's just sit in our space.
Yep.
Let's just sit in our space and just relax. And with kids, it can be a little different because you can turn on something. With them, they probably need something turned on. Or hell, let them color. Let them color in coloring books. I
Oh
feel like when you
yeah.
color, because I got they call them adult coloring books, but y'all, let me tell you something. It's a coloring book,
Hmm.
and I feel like I do those. I like to actually color, and that brings up a good time of my own time in my own space without
Hmm.
actually doing like heavy manual labor work. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Puzzles, all
Oh,
that.
puzzles are real good too.
Yeah. Hobbies. It's time. Self care is like get you a hobby. Get you a hobby.
No, let's don't say that because people will be
No.
trying to get a hobby that requires work. You know what I'm saying? Like requires more to just thinking. Because if then you get your hobby, then they feel like, oh well, I can do this. No, not pool tables, guys. We're not doing that. We want you to relax. We
Maybe
want you to
it is
relax.
relaxing.
It maybe is relaxing, but it's kind of sometimes taking off because when you playing a game, you get
Okay, mental.
competitive.
Okay,
You get competitive.
okay, mental,
Yeah.
mental hobbies.
Yeah, yeah. I
There we
like
go.
that. Something different. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's make mental hobbies out here. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Let's do
mental
something
hobbies.
different. Get you a mental hobby that
Mhm.
only you can be in your mind. That you're
Yeah.
in your mind. And that's why I was saying, because a lot of men, I know they do the yard. And that's their time. And I get it. Because I do the yard, guys. So I get it when you doing the yard, that is time. But at the same time, you still doing manual labor. And it
That's
don't
not a
be feeling
hobby.
like manual labor. But no, I'm speaking for the men, because a lot of men say, well, I got my time. I have my self-care time when I'm doing the yard. I'm just
Oh,
giving
that's
them a different
crazy.
perspective
Yeah.
on what you can use, you can do differently without doing actual manual labor, you know?
Yeah. So I guess just look into little mental hobbies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be in your own mind. Shut down. Take a
Mhm.
moment to just, kind of shut down and just let your thoughts run free
Just
without
breathe.
them. Yeah, let your thoughts run free without you trying to, you know what I'm saying, push it. Just let them run free. Just let them
Mhm.
run free.
All right. I don't think I got anything else to say now.
Yeah, I just want to, like I say, I just want to say love and light to everybody, men and women. Y'all, just remember we need to do self care on the inside. We're
Mhm.
not talking on the outside, on the inside.
All right. Bye guys. Thank you.
Well, all right, guys, we can wrap this up. It was good talking to you guys, and I love you. Love and light.
Love and light. Bye guys.